The unanimous vote, it's my favorite special exam throughout the entirety of the series so far, and I think it's the best exam that they've done. Now, my personal favorite book out of the year 2 is year 2 volume 5, and I've done reviews from the start of the series all the way up to year 2 volume 5. I'll leave them in the description below. But in that review, I said I wasn't gonna go in depth with the results because I wanted to really highlight them in a specific video, and this is that video. Here I will go over the results from the 4 classes and whether or not I believe their decisions were the right or the wrong choice if I were a student in that class. If you guys enjoy regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Also, I started streaming live on Twitch. If you guys want to be a part of that, I will leave it in the description below. But with that away, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's see who made the right choice during the unanimous vote special exam. So how does this special exam work? There's 5 topics and you have to vote unanimously. Plain and simple. It's nothing really complicated about it. You gain 50 class points if you're able to complete the special exam, and you lose 300 class points if you guys run out of time. Now, depending on the question, there could be a second part or a second layer. Think of a 2A and then 2P type question, because let's say for instance the question is, do you want to gain a protection point? And then you say yes or no. Then the second question, you would have to decide on which classmate would get that protection point. I said that the exam is not complicated, it's pretty simple, but what exactly made this exam so difficult? The test, it's about your priorities. I think that's what makes it the most difficult. Convincing one person might be harder than convincing the entire class, because for example, some students, they don't need to graduate from class A. We know that the school, it's based on, hey, if you graduate from class A, you can go to whatever university you want, get any job that you want. But some people might want to prioritize having a more fun or a better school life because their path is already decided. For example, Kiyosaki, he pretty much believes that he's going to have to go back to the white room whenever he graduates from the high school. Same with Sagiyanaki. She is the daughter of the director of the school, so she probably has connections that can allow her to go to whatever university or get whatever job she wants. And then Koenji, he is the heir to his family business, so he's going to inherit a lot of money. So these people don't necessarily need to graduate from class A, so they will prioritize something else over what other students typically will want. So yeah, it may be harder to get one person to vote unanimously with the other people in the class. You might have to try to convince the majority of the class in order to switch it around so you guys don't lose any class points. And I love this special exam because it's kind of like, you know how in class, at least I don't know about you guys, but for me, there would be different times where the minority would, a lot of people would think that they're wrong when asked a question, but you're not necessarily wrong whenever it's a small amount of people who raise their hand or say one particular answer. It's just that you're in the minority. And so this allows the minority to be able to voice their opinion, and they very well might persuade other people. The hardest question that the classes got was, would you expel a classmate for 100 class points? This is really hard because what if you're 100 class points away from class A? Because you never know exactly how much the different special exams are going to be worth, and you only get a certain amount of special exams until you graduate. So if you're in your 3rd year and you needed those class points, would you do it? Like I said, some people don't need to graduate from class A, but majority of the school does. Look at Chabishira and how it affected her and how much she regrets not expelling the guy that she was going out with. So let's start with the different classes. Class A was Saginaki's class. They chose not to expel anyone. I think this is the right decision. They're in 1st place. Even though the lead has shrunk, they still have a considerable lead. I believe it's over like 700 class points. So in the end, you know, you don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, plain and simple. You don't have to change anything. Everybody's in class A for a reason. They're all very valuable pieces and they could benefit the class in the future. Class B was Ichinose's class. They chose not to expel anyone. Personally, I think this was the wrong decision. Kenzaki, he wanted to expel someone, and I agree. Class B has definitely made the least amount of progress, and they've fallen off since the start of school. They pride themselves on unity, but I'd say their class is pretty average. Because besides Kenzaki and besides Ichinose, who can you say is really elite? In terms of physical abilities and academics, I'd say they have people, but they're probably towards the bottom of the totem pole if you compare the other classes. And I know the class they jump, so I'm gonna list it like how it is according to this book. So in terms of academics, I'd say class A is probably the best. You could argue they have the best overall abilities, but at the same time, well, because they're in class A, but at the same time, I kind of disagree with that. Class D, which is led by Ruin, their class, they're pretty much the beast or the best when it comes to physical ability. And in class D, which is Harita's class, I'd say they're a decent balance of both physical ability and academics, but at the same time, their ceiling is much higher than other classes because of different wild cards like Koenji, like Matsushita, who finally started doing something, Kiyotaka, and other members of that class. And there was a girl in book 4.5, I believe her name was Himeno. She talked about how the different girls were too close together or too unified in the class, and I kind of agree. There's only so much that you can do, like when you tell each other everything. Some stuff you just got to keep to yourself. And other class, like I said, they've shown improvement while this class really haven't. They're kind of foolish to think that you could make it all 3 years without having to expel someone. And Ichinose, the reason why she decided not to expel anyone was because of the conversation she had with Kiyotaka in book 11.5. He said he doesn't know whether it's the right or wrong decision to try and keep everybody in the class until they graduate. However, she's just steadfast and be loyal in her decision of not trying to expel anyone. So she's going to do her best in order to make sure everybody graduates without being expelled. Now, I will say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so this class, they have been doing the same thing kind of over and over, protecting everybody, saying everybody, and it hasn't really panned out. Next, we have class D and Ruin. They decided not to expel anyone, and I agree. His class may be last in the rankings, but numbers isn't everything. It's kind of like, think about sports. Like, you can look at stats and yeah, numbers don't lie, but at the same time, stats can only get you so far. You have to look at the film as well, because they've been improving constantly. And Ruin, he's evolved and become a better leader. He used to rule by fear, and now he takes other opinions into consideration. In this test, when he noticed that a majority of the class didn't want to expel anyone, even though he was willing to expel somebody for class points, he was like, hey, you know, since the majority of y'all don't want to do it, this is democracy, I'll change my vote and I'm willing not to expel anyone. There was a student named Tokito who wanted to expel Ruin, and this is why he was not willing to change his vote. However, he kind of messed up, because in announcing that he would expel Ruin, which granted Ruin really didn't have to worry about it because there's different people in the class who respect him or would keep around, Ishizaki, Albert, Hiyori, Ibuki, Komaina, and other characters as well. But at the same time, in him saying this, Ruin was like, well, you said that, but like, if you're gonna keep voting to have me expelled, then I'll just keep voting not to expel, and then we'll run out the time. But at the same time, losing 300 class points is not an option. They're a really strong and capable class. Ibuki, Hiyori, Ruin, and Ishizaki, others as well, but those are just the ones I wanted to highlight because we see them the most. They are growing. Plus, they got the addition of Katsuraki, who is a voice of reason, and he's also smart and has physical abilities as well. And so Ruin, since he's the type of person who doesn't want to cut off people who he thinks has value, he believes everybody in Class C as of now has or Class D has value, and so he decided, hey, we're not going to vote anybody out. So with them gaining momentum, them not expelling anyone, I think that was the right decision. Class D, they decided to expel someone. They expelled Sakura. They did and didn't make the right decision. I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think they should have expelled anyone, but at the same time, the cards that they were dealt, their hands were forced, and so the person that they expelled, I think they made the right choice in expelling Sakura. The two main choices that they had between expelling people included Sakura and Kushida. If I were in the class and not as a reader, because from a reader's point of view, I know what everybody else is thinking. I know what like different situations the author is intentionally setting up for later books. So if I were in the class, I would have voted Kushida. And the reason why is because Harita said once the traitor is revealed, I will cut her off without hesitation. So Kushida should have been expelled. However, Harita believed that Kushida was worth more than 100 class points, which I agree because she's smart and she's physically gifted. But Harita as a leader, she went back on her word, which I don't agree with. At least to me, I value what people say. Your word is everything. And so the fact that she was wishy-washy and she went back on her word is an idea. Now, from the outside perspective, was saving Kushida the right choice as a reader? The answer is yes. Kushida is both better than Sakura in terms of academics, physical ability, and making connections. And she's a more interesting character, and the development that she'll get after this will be probably pretty good. And she's just all around better than Sakura. If you were to look at it, with the amount of time they have left, do you think that Sakura would be able to make up the academic differences between the two? Because Sakura is one of the dumbest, I don't want to say dumb, but in terms of academic ability, she's like on the lower end, and physical ability, she's on the lower end as well. And so do you think that she, in a year and maybe a half, that she can make up the difference that Kushida can? I don't think so. The connection that Kushida has gained, can Sakura do that? I don't think so. No matter how much she tries to grow and develop, time isn't on her side. And so with that conclusion, Kushida is more of an asset to the class. Like I said, I feel bad for Sakura, but she is a hindrance and she is the person that the class need to cut off the most. Now, like I said, personally, if I were in the class, I would have voted for Kushida. However, since we needed to get to a unanimous decision, Sakura was the right choice. Like I said, this was my personal favorite special exam. It's simple and complex at the same time. I think that 3 out of 4 of the classes made the right decision. I'd say Saganaki and Rona's class definitely did. For the cards that they were dealt and the hand that they had, Harita's class did the right choice as well. And I'd say Ichinose's class, like I said, I understand the whole unity and, sticking to, she's gonna stick to it to the end and see to it to the end. And I also don't think that you're necessarily wrong for trying to stick with something to the end or sticking with your ideals, but at the same time, it ain't work. So I personally would expel someone, but hey, we'll just have to see wherever it goes for the rest of the series. Well, let me know how you guys feel about this exam and whether or not you think these classes made the right decision in the comment section below. Like I said, I've done reviews for pretty much all the light novels. I still have to read. I've already read volume 6. I gotta read 7 through 9. I think 9.5 is coming out soon. I also gotta read volume 0, which I'll probably plan to do in the next few weeks and then get reviews and going out like crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. It's on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.